Hello and welcome everyone. Of course, it's noon on a Wednesday Eastern time, which of course means it's time for the High Noon Hemp Show. You see us every week at noon Eastern Wednesday on the Temptations Beach Facebook page, the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and at Temptations on Twitter. If you just want the podcast, search it, the High Noon Hemp Show on Podbean, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. I'm of course Stoner Jesus. He is the man himself, Beach, in an underground secret location this week, not feeling great. So this be a truncated version, if you will. Go look the word up of the show. Beach, how are you doing this week?
That's true. I've been better. Not feeling too well. I didn't want to flake on the show again because I felt like I could do it. We're not going to do a what are you wearing, Beach, or a product spotlight this week. It's just going to be a short, abbreviated version of the show.
I feel the disappointment from the audience.
Yes, welcome everyone to the abbreviated High Noon Hemp Show this week. I just wanted to get to a little bit of news of what's going on out there. We do appreciate you being here, whether you're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and all those places. Either way, but I feel like I've been missing a lot of shows recently, and so thought I'd still do this one and then go back to bed. So if you have a stomach bug right now, it's going around. If you don't, it's just me. But it's not the Rona.
There you go.
Luckily, we don't have the Rona. So we'll just jump right into it. We'll do some news, and we'll let everybody get on their way, and we'll get back next week with a full show, fully what I'm wearing, product spotlight, and all that good stuff. Definitely some fun stuff going on. Good stuff and bad stuff in the news this week, I suppose. This first, I'm going to just try to blow this up and show you this. This was a article about hot sauce, but there's a company down in Asheville that's making a sauce called Hemp Rising. So check them out. They're 9 Mile is the name of the company. Again, they're in Asheville. Makes sense. Asheville is a hotbed of hemp right now, I would say. There's a lot of great stuff that's been going on in Asheville, hemp related, for years and years and years. So it doesn't surprise me that someone's finally, I think we're going to see a lot more food products, hopefully, coming out of there. Again, I love it when it's not CBD, it's hemp oil. There's a couple other hot sauces out there. Now, I'm not sure what the Hemp Rising really is. I don't know if it's a hot sauce or not, or just a sauce that is, it does say hot sauce, but hemp-based. So if you like hot sauces or sauces, check them out. Again, that's 9 Mile. They're in Asheville. I haven't checked to see if they're online or whether you can order online or not, but if you're in the Asheville area, check them out one way or another. I'm sure they're on the local grocery stores where you can go and drink and shop at the same time, because Asheville loves their alcohol. So, all right, let's get back to. I'm very low brow. I don't even have a script. I don't have a script to wave. Just going off the stuff on my iPad. This is awesome, actually. In Florida, the U.S. Hemp Brokerage has opened their offices in Tampa. And what they're doing is they are going, they're a Boulder business, based out of Colorado, business providing hemp farmers, processors, and manufacturers of industrial hemp materials and products with brokerage services. Okay, so, last week I was talking about if you're going to grow hemp, no matter what you're going to grow it for, have a plan. I think that these guys are some people that can help with that. Find a brokerage firm, find someone that wants to order it, find a brokerage firm, find something that, can obviously they can broker that deal. You can say, hey, we got 500 pounds of grain available, whatever. We've got this fiber available. We got the CBD, all these things. If you definitely want to be a hemp farmer or you want to grow hemp and you're not sure what to do with it when you're done, then like I said last week, have a plan one way or another. Work it all out. And dealing with brokerage may be the right way to go. They're the people that should if they're doing their job right, have the contacts to put your product where it needs to go. Maybe you're in need of a hemp product, seed, grain, fiber, CBD, whatever it is. There's plenty of CBD out there. There's no lacking in finding CBD products these days, that's for sure. But definitely, if you're looking to get into grain, fiber, or any one of the other great things that hemp can do, you don't really have a plan, but you want to do it. Maybe contacting one of this hemp brokerage firm, because that's what they're supposed to do, might be a good route. And again, they're Colorado based, so I'm sure they have offices across the country maybe, but this one's going to be in Florida. And so Florida is trying to get on board with industrial hemp. I don't know. I don't even know how much farming you can do industrial hemp that's not CBD, small scale in Florida for that matter. But that part of the country is starting to gain a lot of popularity and growing. Either way, South Carolina, North Carolina, Alabama, a lot of those states, especially we need to get Alabama on board with the growing for fiber. There's no doubt about it. Start healing all that southern soil that has been destroyed by cotton. I've mentioned it once and I'll mention it again until we're doing it. So once again, if you're looking for a brokerage company, you got the U.S. Hemp Brokerage. They're opening an office in Tampa, and I think they have offices, obviously, in Colorado. That's where they're based, which makes sense because there's probably more hemp. There's a lot of hemp being grown up there, without a doubt. It's kind of interesting with all the Delta 8 stuff going on. Texas, the ban on the ban did not happen. They tried to get a court order to stop the Delta 8 ban, and that did not happen. Once that happened, then a company called Delta Agricultural, which I find interesting. The most interesting part about Delta Agricultural, as they say, they are the nation's largest industrial producer and processor of hemp raw goods. I've never even heard of them. But, that's the hemp world these days. There's so many new hemp companies popping. And this is great. The fact that they call themselves the largest hemp raw goods processor of raw goods, producer and processor of hemp raw goods, is quite incredible. That being said, they wanted to clarify with everyone they don't have anything to do with Delta 8. It's just they had a great name. I suppose Delta Agricultural, until Delta 8 came along, and now it's very confusing because they are actually in Texas, but they don't do anything with Delta 8. So I'm gonna have to look into these guys and see what they do produce. As far as that goes, I'm guessing that it's a lot of CBD more than anything that they're processing in Texas, which again is 100% legal. I'd like to know if they're actually doing any fiber or grain stuff, but I'm going to guess that that they probably don't. But they do want to make it clear to everyone: Delta Agricultural does not have anything to do with Delta 8. And I would assume if they had, they probably would have gotten in on trying to stop the ban and maybe had more power. Again, I think that this is something that this Texas law is not constitutional, in my opinion. Once again, if it's extracted or derived from industrial hemp, it doesn't matter what it is. If you could derive crack from industrial hemp, as long as it met the federal standards of growing and testing, that crack would be legal. That's just what it is. It's no different than with Delta 8 or THCA or CBN, CBG, CBD, all of these things. The federal law clearly states that any extracts of industrial hemp are 100% legal. And that's what this is. Delta 8 is an extract of the industrial hemp plant. And so Texas is going in circles right now, apparently. An article on how to keep your fingernails healthy in the winter and whatnot. The very first, there's like 10 different things that they say you can do. The very first thing they say to do is make a DIY cuticle oil. Guess what you make that cuticle oil out of? That's right, hemp. So you just take one tablespoon of hemp oil, jojoba oil, and apricot kernel oil with a quarter teaspoon of vitamin E oil. That's it. There's your cuticle oil for you. Hemp oil, jojoba, apricot kernel, and vitamin E. Rub it on the cuticles. I would use it on your skin, period, if you have any skin issues, to be honest with you, because if it's healthy and good for the cuticles, then it's healthy and good for the skin. We know that about hemp oil. I think I knew that about jojoba oil. I didn't know that about apricot kernel oil. So I'll have to look into that. Apricot kernel oil. I know apricots are really good for you. And then vitamin E, obviously, is great for the skin. We know that already as well. So get your DIY cuticle oil made for this winter. I need some right now. You can tell my cuticles are terrible shape. We'll have to make some of this. I might just use some hemp oil, period. Maybe a little CBD in there too, just to help. Maybe you don't need all the other stuff. We'll have to see about that.
You can do a little recipe video for YouTube or something.
Yeah.
Beach in the kitchen. You get the cuticle oil.
I should, excuse me, I should start doing some recipes, hemp food recipes and whatnot as well. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll start doing that, filming them, and then we can show them on the show or something.
There you go.
But that's a pretty easy one. I will try to get that recipe up on the website as well at some point. I haven't been doing a very good job at hemptations.com on the second page of keeping up with stuff. So I definitely need to get back in with that for sure. But I try to put links, everything on the second page of the hemptations.com website is websites of places that I've talked about, companies that have hemp, sell hemp, make hemp, do things with hemp. I would like to, and I keep saying this, start posting more recipes. Now, that being said, I get a lot of my news from an app called Flipboard. I'm not, going to tell you any other way. If you go to Flipboard, an app, download the app, you can search for Hemptations, and I have a Flipboard page named Hemptations. Most of the articles, recipes, or anything like that about stuff like this should be marked and on the Hemptations page, and you can go back and search all the articles and whatnot that I have brought to you here on the High Noon Hemp Show every Wednesday at high noon. Again, this week we're doing a little bit of a stripped down version, a little plain. I am at an undisclosed location, not high above the Sharonville location today. Just doing some news, trying to keep everybody up to date. I hate to go a week without informing everyone what's going on in the hemp world, because every week there is a lot going on in the hemp world. This is some good old fashioned censorship. So apparently we have this CTIA, the Cellular Telecommunications and Internet Association. Okay, they are a nonprofit trade organization that monitors and reports content violations on sex, hate, alcohol, firearms, and tobacco. Shortened, they call it SHAFT. Well, it's censorship one way or another. If any of those things are happening illegally on the internet, and then I understand where someone might have to get involved. As much as I hate, we're allowed to hate. Again, it's our freedom to hate. If you're violent with your hate, or you incite violence with your hate, then you should be, appropriately dealt with. But if you're just spewing hate, that's something that the very First Amendment guarantees us the right to have. And I'm not saying it's right, because I hate, and I'm not going to spew hate, and I'm not going to do those things. But if I'm not trying to incite violence, if I'm just talking about what I hate personally, that's my right. Alcohol, firearms, tobacco, again, all those things are legal. So we should be able to talk about them. I understand if we're talking about them illegally or, however, I don't know how this group, they probably just spend all their time on Facebook, and that's why Facebook stinks, is because they keep reporting people to Facebook for this kind of stuff. This is the I've made it a long story. Here's the short part. They're adding CBD to this list of things for content violations. And now what they're doing is because they don't know, really, they don't know what's legal or not. How are they to decide what's content violations? Who are they to decide what is content violations? Censorship is something that I have never agreed with and will never agree with, because it is never the solution to a problem. You can't make something go away by saying you can't talk about it. You can't make something go away by saying, oh, well, you can't talk about that like that. Guess what? It's not going to go away because of that. And in fact, you're doing just the opposite. You're making it so the censorship actually makes it easier for people to operate on the black markets. Whereas, and then we don't, when no one can know the truth. And so it's, in my opinion, this is my opinion, you don't censor, but you have to evaluate. And the problem is see, other humans think us humans don't have the intellectual capacity to make the right decisions when it comes to hearing other people spew their hate or whatever it may be. And so they think they're smarter than us, and therefore they can make the decision whether we see this content or not, which is, again, 100% against the First Amendment, at the very least. Now, I mean, if you're enacting violence or acting in any way illegally, well, then of course you should be checked. That's no different anywhere. Nowhere. And no way am I encouraging illegal activity. But trying to stop illegal activity by using censorship as a means, especially on the internet, does not work. Doesn't work on Facebook, doesn't work anywhere. Okay? I as much would rather know about the hate, know about the CBD, know about the guns, so I can be aware and prepare myself for what I need to do and those around me, as opposed to someone else making the decision as to whether I should see that or not. And obviously, with this new CBD censorship by the Cellular Telecommunications and Internet Association, because it's such a gray issue, and a lot of people still don't know the legality of CBD. There is, in my opinion, no way that this organization can appropriately decide what is or what isn't appropriate for CBD content. Yeah. Okay? It's the FDA's job to fight false claims. Okay? If someone's making false claims about CBD, then that should be the FDA's job to come in and say, no, you can't, that's not, you can't do that. Not this nonprofit trade organization. I like the fact that they're nonprofit, because we can at least say they're not beholden to anyone's money, but they're taking donations. And so where are their donations coming from? Mm-hmm. Who's donating them to go out and fight these things? Censorship is never the answer. I'll say it now, I'll say it 100 times. And no way can censorship be the answer to educating or preparing yourself for the real world. Okay? It's like a dress. It's laziness is what it really is. It's laziness and lack of trust in us humans to make our own decisions and do the right things or the wrong things if they're put in front of us. You can't, if you strike up a conversation with someone in a bar and they tell you a bunch of buoy about any of these subjects, where's this organization then? You're trying to protect the masses with censorship when we need to know. I've always said, legalize everything so that we can educate everybody on everything. If everything's illegal, we can't educate. We can't people don't get the right facts. They don't know the truth. You got one person saying this, one person saying that, one person saying this, one person saying that. If everything is legal and we can study and we can decide whether actually something's dangerous, or we can tell people, hey, we know this is dangerous. Cocaine is dangerous, but it's legal. Here's clean cocaine. It's much better for you than a black market.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an example. It's, it's no different with THC or any of these things. When censorship gets involved, then we're dumbing ourselves down. We're not protecting ourselves from the truth, because guess what? The truth, that reality is still out there. It just might not be seen by as many people. And again, we all have the ability to decide for ourselves. This is just more humans telling us, just like the government loves to tell us, no, you can't make decisions on your own. That's our job. It's our job to make your decisions, especially in these things, when it comes to these things that people enjoy. Half of this list, again, alcohol, firearms, tobacco, sex, those are all things most humans tend to enjoy. I get the hate. I love the idea of the hate. I don't like hate any more than the average person. And so, I want to know that hate exists so I can fight that hate. When it comes to all those other things, people don't, that's none of their business. None of their business when it comes to sex and firearms and tobacco and alcohol. As an adult, all those things are legal to me as an adult, including hate. It's not illegal for anyone to hate. Okay? Wrong, immoral, makes them a bad human. Yes. But illegal?
Mm-hmm.
Although we do have hate crimes now. And again, I'm not in agreement with hate crimes. Again, people that commit crimes, I don't care whether it was hate driven or greed driven or stupid driven or drug driven or alcohol driven, people that commit crimes should be held accountable for those crimes. You can't double up on the crime. If someone, unfortunately, say assaults someone because they're gay, okay, well, then you go to jail for assault. It doesn't have to be a hate crime issue. We can't assault anyone. It doesn't make any difference whether does it make assaulting someone just because you wanted to assault them half as okay as a hate crime? Because you did it because you didn't like the color of their skin or their sexual preference or whatever it may be? No, it's a crime. It's a
Absolutely.
crime, period. Okay? I understand why, they want to try to, and again, you call it a hate crime. Make sure that the person that, if you need to make sure that the person that committed this crime and everyone around them realizes that they did it because of hate, well, that's fine. I don't know why we have to hold them any more accountable from the average person that just goes and beats somebody up on the street, which is completely not fine as well.
Yeah.
And so, everything has to be fair and equal. And I don't think the hate crime should have any more power against someone as just a regular crime. If you commit a crime, you commit a crime. You're a bad person because hate did it. But to me, those crimes happen all the time, and we don't get an answer as to whether it was a hate crime or not. Just because a white person attacks a black person doesn't necessarily make it a hate crime.
Mm-hmm.
We have to look at it as a crime, period. People shouldn't attack people. People shouldn't get beat up. People shouldn't get killed. People shouldn't be put in hospitals for their whatever their preferences are, whatever their beliefs are, even if they're wrong. I don't believe that that's the case. I've never believed that beating someone up is the right way to change their mind or to prove that, I'm a better person than them if that's what I really think. Most people that do that are weak anyway, and they need to be held accountable for their acts, regardless of whether it was driven by hate or not. And so once again, this adding CBD to this censorship list is only going to make it more difficult for all of us legitimate businesses, all of those legitimate people that endorse CBD, because these people have no idea. And again, they don't have any idea as how to um, how to deal with any of these problems other than to try to make them go away. Again, censorship is not going to make hate go away. Censorship is not going to make firearms go away. Censorship is not going to make sex go away. It's not going to make CBD go away. It's not going to make alcohol go away. It's not going to make anything on this list go away, period. So here's just another organization that do-gooders that think they're helping us, where in fact they're not educated enough to make the decisions to decide what's right or what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Who is, what I mean? So, I don't know where we go with the Cellular Telecommunications and Internet Association. Write a letter, call them up. I don't know, go to their website and tell them that they're completely wrong by adding CBD to something that they think needs to be censored. Because there is zero reason to censor CBD. And again, you're only hurting the markets that are out there and the legitimate people out there by doing it. Let's see here. More stuff going on in Texas. This is really cool, actually. The Contour Brands, Kontoor, is expanding its collaboration with the Texas-based biotech company to create a sustainable source of hemp-based fabric. That's awesome. Okay, now the Greensboro maker and seller of Wrangler and Lee brand products has announced it's growing its partnership with Panda Biotech, and I know about Panda. They're definitely up and growing. So there's two, Wrangler and Lee. Man, once they really get on board with hemp fabric in their products, they will really, really be doing something. So that's super exciting. Again, happening in Texas. There's a lot going on in Texas. The Delta 8 ban was just ridiculous because there's so much good stuff going on in Texas with hemp that, I don't know why they're trying to scare anybody in the state at this point. Sustainable hemp creates the perfect complement fiber to cotton, it says, and they are excited by the opportunity to advance the denim industry's use of environmentally friendly hemp to craft high-quality, eco-conscious apparel. That's the goal. Love it. So thank you, Contour Brands. And so I guess Greensboro, I'm not sure where Greensboro is, but that's where Wranglers and Lees come from. So, that's a huge brand names to legitimately jump on board with the industrial hemp fiber game, which, as you all know, I really love fiber and plastics. Let's replace them all. Cotton and plastic. Let's replace it all. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, okay. This is kind of fun too. There's another in Durham, and this is in North Carolina. A startup called Planted, Platd. I actually have a hat that I think says Planted like that. But their goal is to meet the materials demand of the growing home builder market, all without chopping down a single tree. And part of that is getting thoroughly involved in hemp wood. We got a picture here. I'll see if I can blow this up. And you can see there. Whoops. What I do? Whoops. So there's their wood planks that they're working on. And of course, we have the Kentucky, down in Kentucky, we've got a hemp wood shop. And so, the hemp wood is doing its best. These are the things that I knew were going to take some time. After 5-6 years of having industrial hemp, the fiber part I knew was going to be the last to catch up. The wood part, even the composite part is still we're still away. But here's yet another company that realizes the vitality of industrial hemp for eco-friendly building materials. I talk about the hempcrete a lot. I've always said anything you can make synthetically, you can make out of wood, you can make from hemp. and that's true. And now these products are actually being developed. When I used to say that 10, 15 years ago, there was hardly anything. Now, we did have our hemp press board that was coming out of China. That's been around for quite a while being made. But nothing here in the United States. And I didn't know how long it would take. But now we're finally seeing more than one hemp wood processing plants opening up, making hemp wood to build with. So no more cutting down trees. Seriously. I mean, how pleasant would it be to not have to cut down any more trees? I mean, it just seems so illogical to cut down any more trees when we don't have to. That's for sure. Let's see. And I think I talked about this. The famous music director, video director, and whatnot, who was building his house out of hemp. And here's a quote. It says, "Hemp fought the climate crisis on lots of fronts: carbon, plastic, poor soil health. So I decided to buy some land and grow a house from hemp. It was a mad idea, as I had never even done any gardening before." So what this gentleman did was he bought the property, he grew the hemp on the property, and then, I don't know if you can really see, but this room right there, in between the wood is hemp. And so that's the hempcrete. Basically, it's a spray on. So, the only thing we cannot use right now that is not being used hempcrete wise is foundations. Because, and I think there has to be numerous amounts of tests still being done, there's a mindset that it's inferior to hemp concrete because it's lighter. That doesn't make it less strong. We don't know that. Just because the actual initial wall or block, we're seeing a lot of blocks being made out of hempcrete, so you can make the hemp blocks, take them to wherever you're building, put them together, and put your hemp house together, build your walls with it. And again, one of the benefits of hemp is the fact that it is lighter. It's antibacterial, antimicrobial, all the good antis. We know this, but I think the mindset is because it hasn't truly been tested as a foundation or tested for true bearing weight capacities, because it ends up being lighter. You take a piece of regular concrete and you take a piece of hempcrete, you put them in your hands, same size-wise, a cube, each same size, the hempcrete's going to be lighter. That was the one thing whenever I take the hemp museum out for people, and I've got this piece of hempcrete, it's about this tall, it's round. When people pick it up, they are truly amazed at actually how light it is. And it's not light, but you can tell that it's just not as heavy as what you would think a piece of concrete the same size would be. And that's because it's not. You're replacing the pea gravel or the sand, which is heavier than the hemp itself. Once we've truly gotten, and again, we're seeing it's mostly framed walls and things like that, or blocks, and then building with the blocks being used until we get true numbers, science on the strength of hempcrete. It's not going to be as accepted, but every day it's being more accepted where it's already appropriate to use it. And saving the planet as we go, as we know. Getting more involved with hempcrete. Here's interesting. I've talked about hemp cake. Now, hemp cake is when they take the hemp seeds. If you're going to press for oil, so you press all the oil out of the hemp seeds, you're left over with hemp cake. Now, for the most part, nutritionally wise, I would guess that it would still be high in fiber. The oil is where a lot of that protein and whatnot is. But what this research found was, let me see. Put my glasses down so I can look old. Okay, they looked at the hemp piece. The results of the study indicate that hemp cake a material considered mainly as waste, may be destined for food purposes and be an alternative ingredient for the production of sustainable meat products. And so, we've got some hemp burgers out there already. And this is something that I think, because of its consistency and its feel, can kind of make that transition of making you believe it's real hamburger. Okay, we don't have to convince the vegans or the vegetarians to eat more plant-based burgers. We need to convince the meat lovers that plant-based meat is just as good, and it has to. That's where the plant-based foods are making strides, is because they're making the food almost indistinguishable from meat. And that's what it's going to take to convince, or to have the meat eaters eat plant-based food, is to make it taste like a real hamburger. And this would help with everyone's health, the planet's health. We have too many cows. We have too much methane. We eat too much meat. We have terrible heart disease and all these other things. And convincing someone to eat a plant-based meat product has always been difficult. And if it doesn't taste like their hamburger or what they think it's going to taste like, then they're not going to change. They're going to continue to eat that meat because that's what they want. And so we're getting closer and closer every day to products that almost 100% replicate the taste of meat, the feel of meat, the consistency of meat, all those things, even fake blood looking stuff, just so people can, in their brains maybe still think that it's meat because it's got red juice coming out of it or something. Beet juice is good for that, I hear. But being able to take what initially would have been probably a waste product and press the oil to get all the oil out of that cake, and then that, goes by the wayside, I guess, can now be incorporated into meatless burgers and help with that. That's pretty cool. That is definitely pretty cool. Oh man, I forget what. Oh, protein sources. I'm pretty sure that was what this article was about. Another article about protein sources. Number 6, hemp seeds. You can't beat a serving of hemp seed as a plant-based source of protein that also helps with skin health. Oh, that's right. This is skin health article. Sorry. What's really funny is hemp seed is number 6, but it clearly states it's should be number 1. 3 tablespoons serving of hemp seeds has about 10 grams of protein. That's 3 tablespoons, 10 grams of protein. That's pretty good. And of course, like I've always said, you got your omega-6, omega-3s, anti-inflammatory fats, and all this other stuff. And so, more proof out there that hemp seed oil is good for the skin, which I've touted for a long, long time, because of its protein content, because of the omega-6, omega-3s, all the other stuff, magnesium, potassium, all the other stuff that's in the hemp seed oil that we extract and then leave that hemp cake so you can make a burger out of it later. All right, folks. Well, that's what I wanted to get through just in time. My battery's telling me it's low. Of course it is. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Like I said, this is not the normal episode of the High Noon Hemp Show. I had to stay home today, just not feeling a little under the weather. Just strong enough to do the research and be here for you, and do what I can to get this hemp news out. Hemp events, I don't really. I might be able to find what's going on. I will say again, first Tuesday of the month here in Cincinnati, Mad Tree is the medical marijuana meetup. And the reason I tell you this is because I usually go to those. as the hemp / CBD kind of guy, so to speak. And so that will be happening. Let's see if I can actually technologically do what I really want to do. Let's do this one. Let's see what this does. I think I can bring up last week's script. The hemp maze may still be going on out in Minnesota. So if you're out there, check that. November 2nd, you got the Pennsylvania Hemp Summit in Lancaster County Convention Center. That's next week, folks. Again, Pennsylvania is really trying to make strides in their hemp cannabis world. November 12th, you got the Sip, Smoke, and Paint CBD and Happy Times Entertainment in Brooklyn, New York. And then December 1st through the 3rd, Hemp at the Crossroads in Plainfield, Indiana. So there's a little bit of stuff going on, not too much going on there for you to enjoy. I think that's really about it. That's all I got for this week's episode of the High Noon Hemp Show. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having hemptations.
See you all next week.